And yo, what is up, guys? Mike Thomas, aka the Young Trishula here, and I am very tired because for the last 24 hours we've been live over at twitch.tv/TrishulaTTV playing an actually kind of good variant of Dragon Link. I wasn't expecting it to actually do well, but it has been doing well, so I want to share it with you guys. But if you guys don't watch the streams, during our most recent subathon, there was a donation goal to force me to play a variant of Dragon Link called Dragon Gate, which is a Dragoonity version of Dragon Link, which focuses on floodgating the opponent so that they cannot play. So therefore, dragons plus floodgates, Dragon Gate, you get the idea. Anyway, I made a build of it, and it's doing very, very well, actually. So I'm gonna switch over real quick to this screen, and you guys can see our win-loss is 88-27. We're in Diamond 1. We were like one-ish game off of Master 5 when if you go in here, it says you can duel outside the tallying period. However, your rank will not change and you will not receive any rewards. Because we started this climb on January 30th, and it is currently January 31st. So for the past like 16 hours, we've been doing nothing but playing this deck. I've been live for like 25 hours. So in one sitting, this deck basically got Master 5. You know, we were like right there. So this deck is pretty good. So I'm gonna just show you guys what this deck can do. You know, it's standard format for this. If you guys want the deck profile, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get this video to, like, I don't know, 300 likes, so something like that. If you can get it to 300 likes, I'll give you guys the Dragon Gate deck profile. But for now, let's go in and grab some replays. You see here that I've saved some replays for us. You know, I just have a big pile of them. But there's 3 in particular that I want to show off. The first one here is this one, and this is gonna be like the most straightforward way to do this combo with the deck. It's just like with normal Dragon Link stuff, you know, because there's some stuff going on in this deck list. You might see it in this replay. I don't remember if like it ever pops up in my hand at any point, but you know, I opened just, you know, Dragon Link cards. So I'm gonna start with my Lubellion, then I'm going to see that there's no Ash, so I'm gonna go ahead, okay, Remus effect, Remus, go for the Dragon Ravine effect, add the Leganis to hand. Leganis is gonna summon itself out, and then Remus is just going to activate its effect and summon itself out. We're gonna get the Gayderg. Very, very cool card. It is not a hard once per turn because this was created forever ago. So we just kind of, the idea of the deck is you loop Gayderg over and over to just foolish a bunch of dragons. We're gonna go into Romulus because we already have Glow and Dragon Ravine. We're just gonna search another Dragon Ravine here. I don't think it actually matters. But then we're gonna use Glow, get Mistletoe, equip the Gayderg, and then use Glow in the graveyard to target the Gayderg and summon it out. Gayderg effect can then, you know, add the Mist Valley Baby Rock and pitch it to the graveyard, trigger its effect to summon. You might be expecting me to go for Crystal Wing here, but I actually don't play Crystal Wing. This is just an extender, and it is cheaper than the 1000 Apple Dragon. So theoretically, 1000 Apple is the better card here, 100 Apple, whichever it is. I didn't want to craft a UR, so I crafted this one. It's the same idea. So then I overlaid for a Tum, and I went for the black metal. We go up into our Striker Dragon and do, you know, standard chain block stuff. You know, we're gonna protect the Striker because we already have the Tracer in our hands. I'm gonna grab the Red MD. We're gonna grab the Boot Sector. I'm gonna summon out the Red MD effect, get out the Tracer, and then I'm going to Lubellion effect, tribute off the Red MD. We are then going to Lubellion, activate Regained, and then I'm going to link 4 monsters, 4 unique names for Saryuya Skuldred, and I'm gonna draw 4 cards. I'm gonna put back some cards there, you know, and just get out the Samsara Dragon. So far this is all just kind of like what you're aiming to do. Like so a lot of the early part of the turn that we've kind of like gone through, it's a little bit fast, but you got to play this deck fast because there's only so much time in a turn. And even me, who plays very, very quickly, I'm still running out of time like pretty frequently, and I know exactly what my plays are. I'm clicking very quickly. So you gotta make sure that you master this deck. So maybe watch this video a couple times, make sure you got it down. But basically the idea is that you want to set it up so that you're trying to fuel your graveyard with stuff like the Samsara Dragon, and some other cards that you're going to see in a couple minutes. So whatever you can get to in the graveyard, and then you're going to go into Saryuya, go into the Pisty, bring back the Gaydirk again. Pretty much anytime you have a reborn target in this deck, it's Gaydirk. It's almost always Gaydirk. So here you can see where this deck starts to go a little bit off the rails, and we search Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. This is a Dragon Link classic card. If you played during the 2020 pandemic format, you are probably very familiar with that card. And then we're gonna link to for a Seals in the main monster zone, which is very heinous. But then we're going to use Samsara Dragon in the graveyard. If you don't know what this card does, when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it, target a level 5 or higher dragon in your graveyard, add it to your hand, and then immediately perform a tribute summon, so an extra summon. This does not like include your main normal summon for the turn. So we're going to grab back the Mistletoe that we've already used, tribute the Seals, and then we can use the regain, put it back, draw a card, and also mandatory effect to trigger to special anything we want from our deck. So I'm going to summon the DMZ Dragon here. So this is another Dragon Link card that we have, because the pool of cards that Dragon Link has access to is very deep. What DMZ Dragon does is once per turn you can target a level 4 or lower dragon in your graveyard and any dragon you control and equip your target to the dragon that is on your field. Do you see where this could become a problem? Do you see how this could be problematic? When we can easily search Dragon Buster Destruction Sword and then equip it to anything on our field. And this is a very easily summonable card. Anyway, you know, we're gonna summon out our Rocket Tracer here. I think that was my normal summon for the turn, yeah. And then I'm just gonna synchro off for Dispatter. Dispatter effect is going to get me out the Striker Dragon. Something that you should know is that Dispatter doesn't always have a good banish target, so sometimes if you can use that Red MD early, it's really, really nice, because then you have something to bring back with this. And then we're going to DMZ Dragon and target the Dispatter. So I like to put the Dispatter in defense and equip my my Buster Lock to it, just so that they can't like Lightning Storm us or anything like that. But if you do have like extra like dragons, for example, that you could like float on your field, like something that's just like left over, you can also just put the Buster Lock on that like leftover dragon, just so that if your opponent like kaijus you, they are forced to kaiju a card that does nothing, for example. But you know, so we're gonna set this part up. I'm gonna make my second Hieratic Seals, because we can use one as a LP and the other just as part of our end board. And then I'm going to just Striker effect pop myself for the Tracer, and then use Boot Sector effect to special the Tracer from my hand. Tracer can then pop the Boot Sector and then summon the Recharger. I can go for Savage Dragon, and we are able to just pass nice and easily with a 4 mat Savage, 4400 attack, with a Dispatter on field that is locking my opponent out of their extra deck, a Seals to protect it, and 4 cards in our hand, as well as Regains face up. So this is pretty strong. And then I'll just show you guys the rest of this game, because my opponent does, I think, attempt to beat the end board. I don't remember if they do it successfully. So they summon Fenrir, they go Battle Phase, and we just Seals effect to bounce it, obviously, so that they can't attempt to banish us face down. They called by, we chain the Magnemite. So fun little fact is that Bestials are pretty good to keep in your hand if you have a Seals that you want to protect from call by. So that's going to resolve, and we're going to be able to trigger Magnemite to search in the end phase, and we are also going to use the regains to put back that seals into our extra deck, and we get to draw a card for free. They go main phase 2, summon the Fenrir, whatever, sure. You know, he searches a unicorn and it's like, all right, cool, this is Kashtira. And then he activates Water Enchantress, and now I'm very confused. And he goes Rite of Armacer, and now, you know, in my head I'm like, all right, well, this is kind of bad, but sure, you know, like, we're in main phase 2, I guess it's fine. So I just end up maxing here because I know that he has a card that's banished, so I can negate this Fenrir. I don't really care about that. So he goes Fenrir effect, he targets the Dispatter, I negate it. I draw Ash Blossom, which is very, very lucky for us, because I guess I hadn't figured out what my opponent was playing yet, because he goes hard equip the Draco back from hand, and we just effect to negate the Draco back from hand. And, you know, that's fine. I'm not really sure why he didn't search for the Griffin Rider, personally. Maybe he doesn't play it. I'm not really sure. Maybe there was a reason, I'm just being stupid. But then he goes Vishuddha effect in hand after we negate this, and just yeets that thing into the abyss, and then summons the Ascended Thunder and makes Galaxy Tomahawk. And now I'm freaking out, like, oh my god, they've outed my Buster Lock, they're actually playing the game. And, you know, it's fine, because Maxi carries, right? But I think that's really just the power of the deck, is that they have to invest so many resources to just doing anything to you. You know, we're in main phase 2, and he's dead to one hand trap at this point. So we, just showing off the power, it's like, if you have any hand trap in your hand after Saryuya fixes your hand, they're not playing through this. You know, so he's just going to summon his unicorn and say, okay, I've had enough. Good game, good duel. So GG's to that opponent. So that was like the standard like Dragon Link way to do things, but this isn't a standard Dragon Link deck. So I'm going to now show you guys this duel that shows you kind of my take on the deck, my spin on it, which is that this is not like a standard Dragoonity pile. This is actually a super heavy samurai Dragoonity Dragon Link. So, fun fact about the Super Heavy Samurai cards is that any of the Super Heavy Samurai 1-card starters, so that's Bike, Wagon, Soul Piercer, Wakaushi, any of those 4, so 12 copies of the cards, all of them are full Dragon Link combo after summoning a Baron. So we can show that off here. And what's cool about that is that if you open, you know, any Super Heavy Samurai card, plus like either Tracer or Lubellion or like any other kind of like Dragon Link card at all, that you just don't have to search, you just full combo your opponent. It's like pretty linear, like you just get through the turn. So we're just gonna start off by doing like normal Super Heavy Samurai stuff, trying to, you know, make sure he doesn't figure out we're playing Dragon Link. Maybe he's a little bit suspicious from the Baby Rock, but hopefully we're not triggering too many alarm bells yet, because, you know, this is all pretty standard Super Heavy Samurai plays so far. If you're curious about Super Heavy Samurai, I do have a video for that. So we're gonna go, you know, our Excel plays, and we're gonna make our Baron, right? This is all very straightforward. But now we get to the fun part. We go to Soul Peacemaker. Soul Peacemaker is going to summon Scales from our deck, and Scales can summon back any Super Heavy. And then we can overlay them for Force Tricks. And then Force Tricks can search Zephyros the Elite. And then we can Pendulum Summon in Dragon Link. And then we go for Romulus. And the game is over. The game is over at this point, you know, because we're protected. So, you know, we're just going to search our Dragon Ravine because we didn't already have Remus. So now we get Remus, we get our other Dragon Ravine, we Zephyros the Elite, bounce it back, and then we can summon Remus. So just so that we're clear, by overlaying 2 level 4 monsters and then pendulum summoning a Zephyros the Elite from our hand, we use 2 winged beasts to make Romulus. That searches Dragon Ravine. Ravine searches Remus, which searches another Dragon Ravine. The Zephyros can then bounce that Dragon Ravine, summon to the field. It is a winged beast. We control a Dragoonity, so Remus can summon itself. And then you can go into Gate Air. All underneath a Baron. And we can just do this as much as we want. So we're just going to search the DMZ Dragon here. We're going to link and put that in the graveyard, set that up early. And then we're going to go for Saryuya, fix our hand. We find black metal, you know, and it's like, oh, cool. A level 4 lower dragon. And it has a good graveyard effect. Don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I do at all. So black metal is going to surge. Saryuya is going to do its thing. And at this point, you know, we just kind of get to do whatever to our opponent, you know, like they need 2 hand traps to do anything to us. And we're just vibing. So we're going to set up the DMZ in the graveyard. So now we have both DMZ and the Buster Dragon. So if you were curious about how we get there, if it's not through the Samsara Dragon plays, this is how, because actually I don't usually use the Samsara Dragon to do it. But in that other replay we did. So normally what we like to do is, you know, we'll pop a scale or something. And then we will go for our Striker Dragon. Grab a Boot Sector launch. And here, you know, we didn't have to, like, do this necessarily. I could have just left the Ghidorah on field. But I said, you know what? I have the extender. Let's do this. And even if I didn't have the extender, I have double Dragon Ravine plus Boot Sector. So, like, we could have just searched another Tracer too. But I'm just going to go for the Dispatter, get this on the field because it is a big body. And then we'll Recharger, target the Striker, summon the DMZ Dragon back, and then DMZ will equip. And this is usually what you're going to be doing. Usually you're going to want to use Striker to pop itself, targeting Recharger, summon back DMZ Dragon. That's a level 4 Dark. So it's basically just Recharger. And then you just get your other Tracer on field, make Savage, and go like this. And then obviously we had 3 cards in our hand that we just didn't use, and these could have been weaved in at any point in the combo to do whatever. You know, I didn't do it during the turn, but if I wanted to get really greedy, I could have gone like Dragon Ravine, pitch Dragon Ravine, and then dump a Lubellion to get a Regained into play. Like I could have done that like when I had the Red MD on the field, because that just got linked off. But I didn't, you know, like if my opponent did have the 2 hand traps, you know, these are very good insurance policy. So again, I'll just show out the rest of this game. They're playing Makonko, so they go Arabesque. They try to special summon with my Baron, and I just say, no, can't let that happen. So we just pop that. They go Dogmatica Calamity. They summon White Relic. Probably trying to bait out a negate or something like that. I'm not falling for it. You know, you can do whatever. There's not many cards in my extra deck left anyway. Like, I don't care if you rip my extra deck. I'll just send some Pendulums. Then he goes Ohime, which we negate because I don't want him getting more Makonko cards if I don't have to. He tries to negate us with Fleur-de-Lis, but we say, well, I'm smarter than that. We can pop that from hand with Dispatter. So we're going to Dispatter, pop that from our hand while recycling our Pisty, and negate the Ohime as well. And now we're sitting here, and it's like, okay, maybe he's getting close to outing it, but he just goes Battle Phase, and we just bounce the White Relic. Seals, triggers, summons Chamber, and Chamber is just going to search the Hospitality, and he's going to summon Hare and set a card. We're just going to start our turn by Baron summoning Scales. Scales is going to activate. Fun fact, by the way, in case you didn't know, a lot of the super heavy samurai monsters don't actually need you to have no spell traps in the graveyard. A lot of them actually just work like as normal monsters. So we can do that with Scales. Scales is one of the good ones. So he's going to try and punishment us. We're just going to negate that with the Savage, obviously. And then just player priority in main phase, go into Baron. We're still floating, 5 cards in hand. We just pop his Makonko, and we just punch at him and just say, okay, good game. And yeah, and we're holding 5 cards in our hands. There's not really much many decks can do. And even this was even a deck that like the extra deck lock didn't do much against. So like you can even see just like how overwhelming the field is before you even remember they can't go into their extra deck at all, which is kind of insane. Not gonna lie. So those were a couple just kind of like standard combos. I think you kind of get the gist of it. Yeah, like if you don't, there's like a 24-hour VOD of me playing this deck on Twitch. You can go check that out if you need more content of this. But just to close it out, I do want to show you guys kind of an interesting game we had, just to show you that this this deck can grind, because I can already foresee people like writing in the comments like, oh, this deck like blows this entire extra deck, you know, to set up the DMZ. Like, what if it doesn't work? You know, blah 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 blah. And this deck can grind. Like this deck can grind. So this was a game that we played against the Gold Pride Punk deck. So they led with Wagwan and they play the field spell. They went Foxy Tune. I said, all right, I don't want you to, you know, get into the full combos because you have the field spell. So I'm just gonna ash that. He goes for the captain and just specials it out. And I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, we've probably lost, you know, our hand isn't too great. But I decided, you know, we can play this out. And I'm just going to fast forward through his turn because he's going to do, you know, he's going to do Gold Pride stuff. You know, it's Gold Pride. He sets some cards. He draws some cards. And then we draw Druid's Worm for turn, which is not the draw that I wanted to see. But I figured, you know, we may as well play it out. But he doesn't get rid of our normal summons. So this is kind of why, you know, maybe you play it out. Is like, he's afraid of getting rid of this because he sees it as a graveyard effect. So he just lets it go through. And I say, okay, that's cool. So we search our 2 cards. I'm thinking maybe we're going to get drolled and I'm going to scoop that way. And then that doesn't happen. So I summon the Red MD and then regain triggers and we draw Remus. And if you haven't already figured it out, Remus is very good. Remus gets you everything. Like, this is the entire deck. So now I'm saying, okay, let's think about this. And I go Red MD, summon back the Black Metal Dragon. And I think I attempted to leave main phase, go battle phase here. And he went for the Starleon effect, and he just pops the Red MD immediately. And then he banishes. We go for Druid's Worm. We summon this out, and I say, okay, I'm going to threaten my Romulus again. And he's going to say, okay, I am going to activate the trap card and summon Rollerballer, and I'm going to say effect of Druid's Worm, target the Rollerballer. And he's going to say, I'm going to chain Rollerballer, which is fine. He's going to fuse from his hand. He's going to make Pinballer. So we're going to trigger our regains. And he's going to use the effect of Pinballer. I was kind of kicking myself. I felt like I should have like used this on the previous chain because it's like, oh no, he takes my regain or something now. I think, can this only take monsters? I have no idea. But he took my black metal. He didn't take this. So we get this back. And yeah, now, you know, I'm just saying, all right, well, you better have it because we got full Dragoonity combo now. And now we can just start Dragoonity comboing him. And I think what ends up happening in this game, if I recall, is that I think I make a huge misplay against him because I was trying to figure out how we get over a 5300 attack point monster. And I think I ended up making a huge misplay later in this turn, and it ended up dragging out the game a little bit longer than it probably needed to. So entirely on me for that, but you guys will see what I'm talking about in a minute. But keep in mind, I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh for like 20 hours straight, so gameplay is not perfect, I can tell you that. So we're just gonna overlay. We're gonna go into Absorouter. I end up using the Dispatter to get one of his guys and to go into Saryuya. And I think this is actually a really good game to show off because despite the misplays, this actually shows off something really cool about the deck. Is that, yeah, so I end up drawing a bunch of bricks and a wagon. But if you check our graveyard, we have no spell traps in it. Because actually, you do not put spell traps in your graveyard typically until after you make Saryuya. So you can always Saryuya into the super heavy stuff if you don't start with it and you're actually able to combo with it. Wagon is unfortunately one of the worst ones to start with. So I had to like remind myself, it's like, all right, well, how do I, like play with this once I'm locked into dragons? So I summoned it back, and then I went for Gaydir, got the Samsara dragon out, And I went for the seals. You know, so far I'm playing this correctly. And using the same Star Dragon effect, grabbing my Dispatter, or my Druisworm, I mean, summoning it, and then triggering seals, summoning Tracer here. And this is where I start to misplay, is I make the Savage, which this is correct to make the Savage here. But where I mess up after this is, you're going to see in just a second. I want you to see if you can spot the misplay. I put the seals in the pendulum scale. I was trying to click this zone, and I clicked this one, and I started panicking, and I said, oh, it's okay. I'll just link them into Romulus and make a Baron with Wakaushi. And I feel like I'm about to have, like, a Drake and Josh moment where it's like, Drake, where's the Baron? And then I remember I'm Dragon Lock, so it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm giving up on this. And then, because I'm flustered, I think I forget to go battle phase altogether. I don't attack over the Pinballer, so he does get his, you know, his engine back. So this is played very scuffed on my part. Let's get that straight. Like, I am playing this very badly. But this deck is so good that it does not matter. It does not matter. So I make the seals. I go for Regained. I get back our Druisworm. He goes for Called By. Sure thing, bud. You can absolutely Called By that. Please trade a misplay for a misplay. And then we are going to just go and draw a DMZ Dragon. He makes Bamboozling Goss of Shadow. I realize what he's trying to do. He's trying to go Rollerballer and just mess with us. So I just bounce it back. I summon out the Magnemite. I say, sure, whatever. He activates another one of the continuous spells. He gets another Rollerballer, which is probably not correct. I don't really know much about Gold Pride Punk. But I'm sitting here, it's like, you're trying to bait me really hard into using this Dispatter. So he makes the Adamancipator, and I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. But he ends up hitting the Nibiru off the top with it. It's literally like the first card. So it's like, all right, now I guess, you know, like, this is a little bit bad. So he ends up yoinking all my monsters. And I'm sitting here kicking myself. It's like, damn it, why did I let this happen? You know, but he tags out. He draws another card. He has Rollerballer again. And I'm just sitting here like, well, wait a second. I have 6 cards in my hand. And somehow I have inted super hard. And somehow, like, I have managed to survive. And you have also managed to, like, lose all of your resources. So I start with the boot sector because I figure, you know, he can't let me do that. And he doesn't. He uses the Dragite. So I say, sure, whatever. And I end up just going Dragon Ravine over the boot sector. And I just pitch the Buster Whelp straight up. And just go DMZ Dragon effect. Because I figure, you know, if you're going to be able to Rollerballer, you have to do it right now. Otherwise, you won't be able to in the future. So this resolves. So I say, okay. And I just summon the Recharger from my deck now. Go into Striker Dragon. And I think I misplay again here. Like, I make another misplay because I forgot that I had Black Metal in my hand. I wasn't paying attention because I was like trying to figure out how I get over 3k in this game state. And I was like, oh, I just Savage and Crash. And then I, like, when it resolved, I was like, oh, I have Black Metal. Okay, whatever. So I could have gone on a Magnemite here and searched the Druisworm for his turn. I don't think it mattered. So I just summon 2 Beat Sticks, punch over him, and just say, well, this DMZ Dragon is just going to chill here. You're forced to attack over this. And he goes Terratop straight off the top. We get the Magnemite out of now. And actually, you know, now that I think about it, because we didn't really have anything to link off this Magnemite, it's actually probably better to summon it on his turn. But he top deck, or like he normal summons a Ghost Ogre and makes Leon, and I'm thinking, oh my god, you know, it's all over. Except for the fact that Leon only pops the monster if his life points are lower than ours, and he has 2,000 life points, and we have 900. So that doesn't work out for him, unfortunately. So he's going to get Leon back. You know, he's just looping his guys. He goes for Rollerballer, and then I'm going to draw my Druisworm, or I'm going to search my Druisworm off Magnemite, excuse me, And I'm gonna summon in his end phase to just get an extra draw. We draw Max C, sure, whatever. And then we just, draw Wagon. And I say, you know what, this is gonna force everything. You let me get to main phase. I'm gonna summon out my Tracer. And, he's going to go Roller Baller. I'm going to Max C just because, I don't need this card. So let's see if another card is useful. Fun hint, nothing in my deck is useful in this situation. But he makes Pinballer. And, in this situation for him, there's nothing really good that he can steal. Because if he steals our Tuner, and anything else, we can still beat over him and kill him. If he steals both of our Bestials, he still dies. So there's not really any good combination of cards he can take. So he takes 2 threatening cards, but that still leaves me with the materials for a Baron. I go Baron, I pop my Juris Worm effect, sends the Pinballer, and that's going to be the game. So just so that we're clear, this one, I didn't play this one great, but this one still shows that this deck is very resilient, even through a lot of disruption in a grind game and when you're not playing your best. So I think this deck has a lot of potential, and I like that, when a deck is a little bit forgiving. So maybe try it out. You don't have to be perfect with it. The things I would caution you about with this deck is just play fast. Maybe watch this video a few times, practice in solo mode, because your turns do take a minute, especially if you have to think. If you have to think at any point, you're going to be, swinging with 3 seconds on the timer. That has happened to me multiple times. So just be careful of that. But otherwise, this deck's really cool, and it's doing better than I expected it to. And, I don't think people are used to seeing this type of a Dragon Link deck floating around. So have some fun. Go Buster Lock some people before Konami takes more toys from us. And remember, 300 likes, and I'll give you guys the deck list. So I'll say goodbye to Twitch chat. I'll see you guys in the next video.